What's up, guys? Today we're going to talk about the anniversary limit break banner. This one's really exciting because it does come with a new ultimate weapon, the first gacha ultimate weapon. Where do I look at it? Actually, I think it's here. Let's take a look at the ultimate weapon really quick. So it comes with Genji Blade. And there are ultimate weapons that you can get for free from the event battle tower, but they're not as good as Genji Blade. So Genji Blade does 2,000 damage. Sephiroth's free one actually does more. Sephiroth's free one actually does 3,000. But the free one can only be used one time, while this Genji's Blade can be used 2 times. But Genji Blade also, not only does it do 2,000 damage, it also increases Sephiroth's physical attack and magic attack to extra high. That is, I believe, 4 tiers. I'm not sure, it might be 5 tiers, but I think that's 4 tiers up of physical attack and magic attack, and it lasts 30 seconds. That just makes it much better than his free weapon. His free weapon only does 3,000 damage and nothing else. Genji's does, less damage, but you can use it twice, and it does boost his own damage. This ultimate ability is perfect for Sephiroth because Sephiroth is mainly a DPS user, so this is just going to make his DPS that much higher. And it is also well, let's look at the R abilities next. So R abilities are perfect, or almost perfect, I would say. It has boost ability potency, which is actually the same. His free ultimate weapon also has this same R ability, but it is a perfect R ability to have on a DPS character. It's just straight up damage. And it is pure damage. It works for both physical and magical builds, which is great because Sephiroth can do physical and magic DPS. So perfect R ability in the boost ability potency. The second one is Interruption Mastery, which 25 points maxes it out. That is when the enemy is interrupted, which means after you break the sigils of an enemy, they are interrupted. During that time, Sephiroth will gain 60% ability potency, which is a lot of extra damage during that time, and that goes perfectly well with his ultimate ability. So a strategy, I'm sure the intended strategy for Genji Blade is after you break sigils, then you use the ultimate ability, because you will gain the 60% extra ability potency. So your 2,000% limit break will do even more. Sorry, it's not limit break. 2,000% ultimate ability will do even more damage, and then also you're boosting Sephiroth's physical and magic attack at the perfect time, right? That is when he wants to do the most damage. So this weapon is just a monstrous amount of damage for Sephiroth. So I don't have anything bad to say about this weapon. This weapon is amazing. This ultimate weapon is amazing. The only problem is the chance to actually draw one is very, very low. 0.3% per pull, or that turns out to 3% per 10 pull. Which means most people are probably not going to pull this naturally. But I don't know where it is here. Let me see. Is it? Okay, yeah, but here. But every time you do a 10 pull, you will get 10 Mako gems, and if you spend 300 Mako gems, you are guaranteed the Genji Blade. So that turns out to, if you spend 90,000 blue crystals, which is if you do 30 10 pulls, then you will guarantee the blade. Most people are not going to spend 90,000 on one banner, so it is hard to get Genji's Blade, but it's possible, but not confirmed, that on the next banner, like the next limit break banner that's released, it might also award Genji gems as well. So you might be able to pull on Cloud's banner as well as the next banner to guarantee Genji Blade. But yeah, it is an amazing weapon, and if you do go for maybe OB6 or OB10, we haven't talked about it yet, but there is the featured weapon on this Limit Break banner. If you do decide to go for OB6, OB10, you might actually just spend 90,000 blue crystals anyways. So it is nice to have that option. Okay, and then now let's talk about so this Limit Break banner has a costume and a weapon for Cloud. So let's look at that. First, look at the gear. So the gear has 2 new and unique R abilities. The first one is boost attack to all allies. You get 5 points, so maxed out here. That means you're giving your allies plus 5% physical attack and plus 5% magic attack, as well as Cloud himself is getting this boost. This is a pretty small boost, but it is noticeable and it is nice to have, especially because this is boost attack. It's not the same as boost magic attack or boost physical attack of the half anniversary weapons. So this will be its own R ability, so you don't have to worry about capping or anything like that. But yeah, and it is nice that it helps both physical and magical. But if you're using this costume, I think most likely you're going to use a physical team. So really, you mainly care about the plus 5% to physical attack. So it's good. It's good. I like it. It's mainly because it's unique, but also it is a nice small little boost. The second R ability is Bahamut's Bite. This gives plus 5% physical attack. So I'm not sure how the math works, if it's exactly, but I'm just going to do it a simple calculation, like just adding the numbers. So here we have plus 5% to physical attack, and then with Bahamut's Bite you're getting another 5%, so you could say 10%, and then also you are getting 10% physical ability potency, and it is a separate R ability, so you don't have to worry about capping this one either. So if we add that all together, that's what, 5% plus 5% plus 10%, so overall 20%. Again, I don't know if that's how the math works, but it is a good rough calculation to say. So this costume is giving Cloud, you can say this costume is giving Cloud 20% physical potency, but that is its own R ability, which is pretty good. That's like basically you could say it's like a non-elemental mastery, physical mastery costume. That's good because you can use it for any element, right? You can use it for non-elemental damage. You can use it for ice, fire, any element. You can use it for anything, physical at least. I am ignoring the magical part because, well, first, Cloud doesn't really do magic damage. He can, but not really. And then we'll talk about his weapon in a sec, but his weapon is a physical weapon, so he's really meant to be doing physical damage. But overall, this costume is amazing, I would say. It's amazing because you can use this costume in any situation. You can use it if you want Cloud to do DPS. You can use it. But the caveat is that this costume is going to be worse than Cloud's Arcanum costumes. So Cloud has lightning, fire, ice. He has lightning, fire, ice Arcanums, and he has a water mastery. So this costume will be worse than those if you just want Cloud to do maximum DPS. But this costume shines because if you don't have any of those, or if you're missing some of those, you can just wear this costume. For example, I have Cloud's fire and ice costume, so I wouldn't wear this costume when I use Cloud to do fire and ice damage. But I am missing Cloud's lightning Arcanum, so if I want to use Cloud for lightning damage, it'll be nice to have this costume on it. And the same for water. I'm missing Cloud's water costume, so this costume does fill in very nicely for Cloud to be a main DPS. Yeah, it's great when you're it's great when you're missing his other costumes. One good thing this does over his Arcanum costumes is that this will boost the attack of your allies. So sometimes Cloud is not your only DPS. Sometimes you're running a team with 2 DPS. then this costume will give your second DPS 5% extra physical attack, or magic attack. But most of the time, most of the time you're running the same type. So most of the time you're running like 2 physical DPS. But sometimes you might run a team with 1 physical and 1 magic DPS, and this costume will still help your second DPS as well. So for those reasons, this costume is just amazing. And then one more reason why this costume is amazing is because it is also a good healing costume for Cloud. So Cloud can be a healer. He does have a heal all weapon, and before healers only heal, but now we're starting to see healers do things other than heal. They can buff, and not only buff, but they also debuff. So Cloud can fill the healer role as well with this costume, by boosting his allies' attack and then also healing. So amazing costume, I do like it. Now let's look at the featured weapon that is supposed to go with this costume, but I mean they don't actually need to go together. So the featured weapon is Bahamut's Greatsword, and this is a very, very powerful and unique weapon. So let's look at the C ability first. It does 800% non-elemental damage, which is kind of low for a physical non-elemental weapon, but it has other effects, and I'm going to talk about the damage one first. So it does 800%, but also when Cloud is 50% HP or more, it does 40,000 non-elemental damage flat, like regardless of Cloud's stats, and also it does ignore enemies' physical defense, which makes this very, very strong. So this low 800% number, it's not too low, but it is a little low, is made up by having this ability that when Cloud is 50% HP or more, he deals flat 40,000 extra damage, which makes this weapon amazing. And what also makes this weapon amazing is that this weapon hits all enemies. So most physical non-elemental damage weapons that do more than 800%, they hit single target. So this is basically the best physical non-elemental damage weapon that can hit all enemies, and it's going to hit all enemies with the 800%. It's also going to hit all enemies with the flat 40,000 non-elemental physical damage. So yeah, even single target and AoE, this is going to be the best non-elemental damage weapon. But not only that, this it applies haste, but it only applies haste on the first use. So it's once per wave. Once per wave, or in the battle, you get haste, and you'll get haste for 30 seconds, which is good. That's pretty long. And haste is a premium ability in the game. There are not many. I can only think of 3. There might be more, but I can only think of 3 ways to get haste, and they're not very reliable. But here, for Cloud's weapon, this is quite reliable. It's only on the first use, but it will always be, you'll always get it at least once per wave. Yeah, with haste, this makes this weapon a great offhand weapon as well. So maybe you don't really you're not using this for damage. You can just use it for the haste, which makes it have high utility as well. But if you do want to use it for damage, it's good there as well. This weapon is just packed with damage and utility. It does so much. And that's just we've only talked about the C ability. So now let's talk about the R abilities, which are amazing as well. You're getting boost physical attack to all allies. I don't think I need to talk too much about this because we have seen this R ability in the half anniversary weapons, but it is very strong because this is a separate R ability from boost physical attack, and also this will boost physical attack of your allies. Maybe, like I said, if you're running a 2 DPS team, then this will help your other DPS do more damage as well. And the second R ability is also very good. It's boost physical ability potency. This is very good because it works for all elements. So you can use this as a sub weapon or offhand weapon for any build, any physical build. So if you're using, Cloud's lightning build, you're using Murasame. You can give Cloud Murasame and Bahamut Greatsword. So that's going to make his Murasame build do way more damage than it could, because you're getting the haste, you're getting boost physical attack to all allies, which can increase physical attack even further, and you're also getting boost physical ability potency. This is I would say the highest DPS offhand weapon for Cloud, which makes this very good, which means you can use this if you want Cloud to do non-elemental damage, but you can also use this for, again, all his builds. You can use it for his lightning build, for his fire build, for his ice build. Very, very powerful. And then not only that, it also gets a circle sigil, so that's always good if the boss requires circle sigils. Yeah, so basically I only have good things to say about these. Let me show you some examples of why it's so good. So I didn't pull yet, but let's pretend this is his half anniversary weapon. Let's pretend this is his anniversary weapon. So if you're using Cloud, you can main hand his. Actually, let's talk about offhand first. Let's talk about his DPS build. So for his DPS build, right? Maybe this is Sky Splitter. This is his fire physical weapon. So if you're using him as a fire physical DPS, you can. It actually depends which one is higher OB. So if you have a high, like for me, I have an OB7 Sky Splitter, I would main hand that. But maybe let's use a different. Okay, well, let's finish this example first, and then maybe you have an OB1. I forgot the name, but the new limited weapon. Then you can put that in the offhand, and so when you want to do fire DPS, you're getting P attack all. You're also getting physical ability potency that would help you do more fire damage, more physical fire damage, and then also you're gonna get the haste, so you can haste yourself and do tons and tons of fire damage. Yeah, so it's great for DPS Cloud. Let's talk about another kind of build you might want to do. You might want to use Cloud as a sub DPS. So if you're using him as a sub DPS, you wear his new costume, which can. So if you're using him as a sub DPS, that means like he's doing DPS, but he's not the main one. He's helping your main DPS do extra damage. So to help your main DPS do extra damage, you wear his costume, right? Remember, his costume gives plus 5% physical attack to your whole party, and then you would wear his new weapon, which gives physical attack again to your whole party. So you're just by wearing his costume and his new weapon, you're boosting your main DPS. But also you have a offhand, right? That's free. You can do lots of things with your offhand. You can wear Bandage Sword, increase your team's magical defense if the fight requires that. You can have Butterfly Edge, which increases one of your allies' physical defense if your team needs physical defense, like Bahamut or Ifrit fights. You could give Cloud Hard Edge, which lowers physical defense, right? Because so your main DPS is also probably doing physical damage, so this will be a great option for that. You could do Iron Blade, which decreases physical attack of all enemies. If you need more survivability, you want to lower the enemy's physical attack, you could give Cloud Iron Blade. You could even give Cloud Organics, which does okay physical non-elemental damage, but also has a 30% chance to stun the enemy for 5 seconds, which not all. I think a lot of enemies are immune to stun, but not all of them. So you can use Cloud to stun the enemy, which is very unique. Cloud is the only. This is the only weapon in the game. This is the only way to stun enemies. So that is an option as well. yeah, those are the options for sub DPS Cloud. And then there's one last kind of build for Cloud is you can make Cloud a healer. So Cloud has Crystal Sword, which is a pretty good healing weapon. And then so you can make him a healer who also buffs your team, right? So he's buffing your main DPS physical attack as well as healing, or even you can make him even more of a healer. You can give him Crystal Sword in the main hand to maybe get that plus 31 points in boost heal. Maybe you don't even use his new weapon. You can use something like Bandage Sword. But you would wear his costume. His new costume would give your team plus 5%, and then you just make him a healer with like this. It's basically like a budget Aerith with Komura 1. So it's not as good as like Komura 1, but maybe you don't have Komura 1, then the healer Cloud is an option for you. Again, you can also just do heal, and you probably do the other way around. You could just do P attack all, right, in the main hand, and then heal. You would be missing the utility, right? You don't have any buffs or debuffs, but yeah, like I said, this is like a budget Aerith Komura 1 kind of build. It is also, he's not the best healer because he doesn't have any utility limit breaks, but he does have Climb Hazard, which is a 900 charge speed, so it charges up fast. So you can use it just to interrupt the boss's attacks. So he does have a lot of options, as you can see, as a sub DPS, as a healer, and then again also as a main DPS. Yeah. Oh, the last thing. Okay, and the last thing is the last thing I want to say about Cloud's weapon is you can, like, let's say you can use it as a sub weapon, right? I mean, like here is my Zac. I'm using Zac to do some DPS, and then for sub weapons, right? The best sub weapon for Zac, if I want a P attack all sub weapon, like right now I gave him Glenn's Stream Slasher. It gives boost P attack all, just like the Cloud's weapon, but it gives water potency, which is very useless, right? Because my Zac is not doing water damage. So if I had Cloud's new weapon, that would be the best one. It would give physical ability potency. So basically, it's the best physical attack all sub weapon. And right now we have 3. I only have 2, but there are 3 in total. So there's Cloud's, Glenn's, and then Cloud has another one. So if you want to run a team with triple physical attack all to allies, you would give each of your party members one of them, and then most of the time your main DPS would want the new Cloud one, because the new Cloud one works for all elements. If you give him Glenn's weapon only helps with water. If you give him Cloud's old one, that only helps with ice. So yeah, Cloud's new weapon, I wish I knew the name. I think Bahamut Greatsword is the best physical attack all sub weapon. So with all that being said, right, this banner is just packed with it just does so much, right? Remember, it has the you have the chance, or if you pull enough, you will get the Genji Blade for Sephiroth, which again, like I said, I only have good things to say about that. And then also you have this Cloud costume, which works basically for every single Cloud build, right? It works for his DPS builds, it works for his sub DPS builds, it works for his healer build, right? You can basically always wear this costume and you can feel good about it. And then the weapon is almost the same. Like you can use this weapon in basically any team that needs to do physical damage. You're probably going to use this. You're going to put it on Cloud, or if you don't want to use Cloud, you're going to put it as a sub weapon on one of your 3 party members. So Yeah, high damage, high utility on both of these. Can't go wrong with this banner, and let's look at the banner as well. So the banner on the first page, you get a guaranteed copy on stamp 6. You also get a guaranteed 5-star in stamp 4. Costume 112, of course. Page 2 is looking really good. You get 3 guaranteed copies of the weapon, and again another guaranteed 5-star. You know, I did the math, and on average, this 2 pages will cost you about 48,000 crystals, and with 48,000 crystals spent, you will, on average, again, this is average, so you might do better, you might do worse, but on average, you will get a you'll get an OB5 Bahamut Greatsword after 2 pages. So 48,000 crystals for an amazing costume, a chance at Sephiroth's ultimate weapon, and OB5 Bahamut Greatsword. That sounds like a deal to me. Like, yeah, that sounds amazing. So, do I recommend you pull? I recommend most people. I like to say yes, but the problem is there are more banners coming up. So, and I imagine the other banners are going to be just as ridiculous as this one. So it's hard to say. I would say it depends on your crystals, and it depends on your cloud weapons, and if you even want to use cloud. Because if you pull on this, you could I would imagine you can use cloud basically in any party or most parties. But maybe you don't want to use cloud. I mean, you don't. I don't think it's. This is. You have to have this. But if you do pull for this, it will definitely serve you well. As for me, am I going to pull? I'm undecided right now. So like I said, I'm going to wait for the other banners to decide. You know, I already have 2 Cloud Arcanums, so that kind of lowers the value for me. I also do have Aerith and her Kimura Wand, so again, I wouldn't use Cloud as a healer, so a lot of the value is lost, but I will gain a lot of value from the Bahamut Greatsword because, like I said, I have 2 of Cloud's Arcanums, and this would go well with those. Again, and like I said before, this is also going to be it's going to be a sub weapon on somebody in your party as long as you're using a physical DPS team. So the weapon, it has lots of value for me. The costume, not for me at least, not so much value, but still some value. But yeah, that's my review of the Cloud Anniversary banner. Let me know what your plans are, if you're gonna pull, if you're gonna wait like me, or if you decide no, you don't actually need this. Yeah, let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.